Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? What's going on? Good evening to everyone. A good day to you, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Monica Dillian, and I will be talking to you today about the 3 reasons why people don't always heal and what to do about this. So, a little bit of an introduction. I am an intuitive facilitator of healing. So what I do in my practice is I help people intuitively and holistically heal on all levels, especially on the psychic level, on the level of thoughts, on the level of emotions, and also on the level of your connection to the life source. You might be calling the life force, life source, also God, universe, or any other name that resonates with you. So let's just jump to it. Let's go ahead and talk about that. The 3 reasons why we don't always heal. And what I mean here is that maybe we have a medical protocol that we are following, we're working with doctors. It kind of sort of works at the beginning, but then we plateau, or when we go off our medication, the problem keeps coming back. And if the problem that is persistent in your life is not a physical symptom, maybe this is something that keeps coming back to your life, a belief that you keep arriving at over and over again about relationship, about money, about your own worth. Or maybe this is a reaction to certain people, or how you react in arguments, how you react in moments of stress, and then just in general, the flavor of life. When there is something that we don't really like and it keeps coming back, that means that we did not address the root reason, the root of the problem. Let me talk about the 3 reasons why this happens. So the reason number 1 is that problems and illness or symptom have some hidden benefits. For example, I'm going to give you an example of myself, of my hip problem that just would not go away. I was going to a chiropractor regularly. I had physical therapy done on my lower back and my hips. I had massages done every other week. I was taking anti-inflammatories. I was following an anti-inflammatory diet. I was exercising gently. But it was still there, and it was getting aggravated over and over again. Sometimes every month, sometimes every week, sometimes it would come back every few months. Just the same spot being sore over and over again. I spent thousands of dollars healing that hip. I spent numerous minutes, hours in the gym during physical exercise, trying to stretch it, trying to strengthen some muscles, but the problem was so persistent that until I addressed what hidden benefit is there, what could be the plus of having this problem? What could be the perceived safety associated with this problem? I did not fully heal the issue until I noticed that, addressed that, release that, and let my body then naturally release the pain from my hip. For me personally, hips, what they represent is being stuck in a situation. Being stuck in a situation you can no longer bear, and almost like being at this beginning of making a decision that is very difficult for you. And for myself, going back in time when the problem started, I was in that situation thinking whether I should do this or that, and I didn't feel safe making a decision. So what the hip did for me, the benefit of having this problem was literally being stuck. The hip was stuck, I could not move. And when I was feeling unsafe about making a decision, the hip would then get inflamed, making me unable to move forward, make next steps. So I could be stuck in a situation where I am without having to make a decision. So what could be the hidden benefits of the problem that you have? Many times it could be something, it's all about perception. how the problem is making you feel. Logic in the body is non-existent. It leaves the room once we start talking about the body. So the issues that you might be having, they're not going to be logical. For example, I recently had a client that was completely losing control of her reactions whenever she felt cornered, whenever she felt pushed, and anger just started bursting out. And it was something that she could not control, and she was not able to manage. And this was her way of setting a boundary. This was her way of letting people know, leave me alone. Even though the body was getting hot, almost red, patches and blotches on the skin, all of that was letting the enemy in this situation know, back off, back off. I also had another client who had some issues with the thyroid. And what we found out with this client was that there was some communication issues, especially with children, how the client was communicating and how she felt she's received by her family, repeating the same thing over and over again, and children not listening. A little bit of that resentment and anger and not being seen, all those emotions that this particular client didn't feel safe feeling, especially towards her family, there's a little bit of a judgment. These are people I love. I shouldn't be feeling like this. Well, the emotions had to live somewhere. Because they were not processed and moved, they had to live somewhere in the body. So they literally got stuck in the throat, in the thyroid, in the form of a growth there, encasing these emotions in tissue. So they are stuck there until they can be processed. When the client was able then to find these emotions and let them move through the body, feel them, pay attention to them, not only the actual growth started shrinking, but also she found peace in communication, especially with family. And that judgment that she felt that was keeping emotions stuck in the body dissolved and was not needed anymore. So that's reason number one, hidden benefits of illness or a problem. When I'm speaking about the problem, let's go with money here. Let's talk about money. Let's imagine that I have a lot of debt, credit card debt. This problem can be actually making me feel safe because now that I have debt, I owe someone money, that person owes me. And there's a relationship formed here. When we do not feel safe on our own, when we do not feel safe going forward at a pace that is quicker than what we are used to, we are going to find an anchor, something to keep us here safe in the state that we know. And for a person that has a lot of debt accumulation, this could be an anchor in place. I belong to someone. I have this relationship that I know is not going to go away anytime soon, even though it is not most beneficial relationship. And also I am here safe in life at this point in my life because I am so afraid of moving forward at a pace that doesn't feel comfortable to me. So what does debt do? Keeps the person stuck. And the perceived plus of that is a feeling of safety. And as I mentioned at the beginning, this feeling is not logical. It is not going to be something that you consciously sat there thinking, I do not feel safe moving forward in life, so I'm going to get debt. We do not do it consciously. It's all about how we feel and perceive our environment. Moving forward to reason number two, what we don't heal. Well, sometimes we're getting revenge through illness or a problem. And this is kind of difficult to accept, but I see it over and over again. And I also saw it with myself in my own healing journey. Many times what we unconsciously want to do is to blame others because it's very difficult to see our own responsibility, our ability to respond to certain things. And we want others to suffer with us because we feel like we are victims when the person that is causing us pain does not recognize that. And when we have these emotions in us raising up about a certain situation, let's go with skin cancer here in certain places. Maybe this person was touched in an inappropriate way, something that was causing them a great deal of pain and hurt. This condition of skin cancer doesn't have to, of course, we have to really examine your personal story, but sometimes it will show itself up in places in our bodies where we feel really offending touch. And it's almost like this growth that is containing this disgust with another person, with the situation, with the touch that we received. So, and we can also be getting back at someone through problems. Let's go with money again, having issues with receiving money and making money. Maybe in the past we have been abused financially because we have been lending out of our goodness of our heart, and we had been taken advantage of. So now when that person is not making a lot of money, they're not being vulnerable to repeated attacks and manipulations and corruptions. This can also be an outward action to protect themselves. So that's reason number 2, getting revenge through illness or a problem. And again, this is not logical. This is not something you consciously are choosing to do. Let's go to reason number 3. Healing requires and creates change. When we release the root of a problem, and we no longer, going back to reason number 2, will be able to point fingers outward, we need to create change by releasing another person from their contract, by forgiving them, letting the situation go, just letting it be. Not getting the sense of personal power from the resentment and anger arising from certain kind of conflict. And that creates newness. And what we are biologically wired to do is to project our past on that new empty space, that change space, the space that we didn't know before, the space before, after the problem is released. And what we do, we project the past on that in order to protect ourselves from the past, from the pain that we experienced in the past. That's why we fear change and newness, because we are automatically thinking that there will be problems. We are biologically wired this way because we need to survive. And the only way for us to know how to survive is to repeat the pattern from the past. Repeat something from the past that kept us safe. We are carrying it with us forward in life. That's why change is scary. And because change is scary and also requires a little bit of effort, let's imagine that we are now recognizing that certain type of food is really not, our bodies don't like it. It's aggravating them. We don't digest it well, especially if this food is not actually full of nutrition. We, after recognizing that and learning from the body that this is not the food for us, we have to change and stop eating that. Or maybe we have to stop exposing ourselves to certain kind of people. Healing also can let us know that it's time to change jobs. Or when clear communication cannot be formed, maybe we also have to change relationships and let someone go. Because of that tension about even thinking about it, we procrastinate and we do not do the deep healing work we need to do. All we do is we just mask the symptoms. We pop up the pain pill for headaches. We take the blood pressure medication to lower the blood pressure artificially against our biology, and we think we're fine. Until years later, the real issue will start coming to the surface and showing itself up maybe in other places in the body. We all know someone that has been popping pills for years, but on the turnout they had a growth, let's say a tumor in the brain, and they were popping pills for headaches. It's a unfortunate event, unfortunate situation, and each and every person during their lifetime is ready to address that at a different point in life. And there is no shame when a person does not find the door to that deep healing open easily, especially if they also fear asking for help because they fear that rejection or judgment that they're weak. So each and every person has their own responsibility for themselves, and dictating to others that they should or shouldn't do something, that is not something I do in my practice. So now that we know those 3 reasons why we don't heal, hidden benefits of a problem, getting revenge through a problem, and fearing the change that healing will require and also create for us, what is it that we can do about this? Number 1, examine how the problem or illness or a symptom is keeping you feeling safe, feeling emotionally safe. What does it prevent and what does it provide? Does it prevent something that you perceive will happen if you let go of this problem? For example, I'm going to give you my own example with my Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid disorder that makes you feel very sluggish and slow. If I had the energy to, that healing this problem would provide for me in the past, before I actually addressed the deep reason here, I had this fear that having the energy would not only put additional responsibilities on me, but also I will have to actually do something about my life, about how stuck I feel. And I felt absolutely unresourceful in that moment. So for me personally, this illness was giving me a sensation of safety because I am stuck, I get to be slow, and also others are now respecting me and my boundaries a little more because they see that I am tired. And what does it provide? What does it give me? And there's always will be a sensation of safety, but in what way? And this is something I would love for you to start exploring by just imagining that there could be something. And what would it be? This does not have to be a serious exercise. This does not have to be an exercise where you feel there has to be just one answer to it, one true answer. Play with it. Sometimes you can come up with a list of 20 different things when you really start playing and pretending that there is some kind of safety umbrella that the problem or symptom that you have is giving you. Step number 2, practice radical responsibility. And by responsibility is, what I mean here is this ability to recognize how you have ability to respond to problems. What is it that you can do? What is it that is your job to do? Recognizing clearly where you end and another person starts. What is it that is your stuff? And what is it that is stuff of other people? If you have problems with shoulders, for example, most of the time the weight and the tension there is other people's stuff. It could be family, it could be children, it could be our parents. Many times we feel that we have to give back to them. And the sensation of that is not from sheer love towards our parents, but because of the sense of obligation and maybe even cultural values that have been imposed on us that we don't fully agree with. So the heaviness on the shoulders could be that. And here is also very important to recognize that no one is coming to rescue us. It is our responsibility to ask for help and receive it. This fantasy of someone coming and fixing our problems, I know it can be very soothing sometimes in certain situations, but we have to recognize that this is not a way out. We do have our ability to do something about our problems. And number 3, heal the fear of change. The emotions that you feel when you think about the change, the uncomfortable emotions, but also the survival instincts. Maybe you want to hide when you think about the future and the change. Maybe you want to run away. Maybe you're just becoming numb and can't feel anything. Some people freeze and will not move. They can't even think straight. And one other coping mechanism here, the survival instinct, is completely disassociating, almost mentally leaving the body and living somewhere else, either in the past or in the future, in this fantasy world. I am not here. This is not my problem. I can't connect with it. So how do we do that? How do we heal? How do we heal these emotions, these survival instincts, how our body reacts when we are thinking about negative emotions, that tightness in the chest, that urge to run away, that need to cover yourself and hide yourself from the world? How do we heal that? How do we release it from the body? How do we bring peace when there has been a conflict? And this is why I wanted to talk to you about my program, my healing mentorship. I created a program for you guys where you will be able not only to heal your own issues in a very safe container that is going at your own pace, the pace that you are comfortable with, but I am also teaching you how to talk to your body. Because our bodies store all of these emotions. Because our bodies feel emotions and they react and protect us. Because the conflicts that we have can be actually pinpointed. You can point to them on the body, in the body. It's all stored not only in the tissues, but also in the cellular memory and our DNA. And the fun fact here is that some of the issues that I was describing earlier, they did not have to start with you. Maybe it was something that you picked up from your mother, your father. Maybe it was something you felt as a little fetus inside your mother's womb when she did not feel fully supported during pregnancy. And some of that unresolved conflict is being passed down to us from our ancestors. Let's imagine that you have a family that survived war and famine. Not having food, being all constantly exposed and fearing for their life. Their metabolism changes, their cortisol level changes, and all of that is also changing the gene expression. There is a science called epigenetics that studies these changes, how the environment influences our genes. And when those genes are changed, they're then being passed down to us because we pass down all of the traits to our children, our kids. Not only the color of the eyes, but also some of the changes that we were not fully able to resolve at the moment, and they literally created a physical, biological change in the genes. So now we are showing them to the world. And that is also a reason why we say that some things skip a generation. You're just like your grandmother. And if you have been watching, what movie was it? Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, I believe she inherited some of her magical abilities from her grandmother. There are stories of these abilities being able to skip a generation. And this is exactly why. So, going back to our topic of healing trauma, healing these emotions that are at the root of the problem. The first thing we have to do is allow ourselves to notice them. And that's why my program is so unique. Because inside the program, you will be able to, in a very safe way, connect to these emotions without the need to relive them. There is no need to remember painful memories from the past in order to heal them. There is no need to exactly know what happened and know the story. The stories actually do not matter that much. And many times we tell a story because it's our defense mechanism. We make judgments and we also defend ourselves by telling stories. To get to the root, the first thing we have to do is to feel. And so many of us have no idea how to do it. And I was one of these people. I was that person. Uncomfortable emotion, not me. I'm not going to feel that. And finding our ability to be present with all parts of ourselves, the parts that we don't really like, the ones that hurt, the ones that felt judged, pushed away, alone, they need to be acknowledged and noticed. And from that point, the change can start happening in the body. The nervous system responds. There is an actual change in the cells. And in my program, and also when I'm facilitating healing session for clients, I intuitively see that. I see the change in the body. And you are able to do that. You are able to learn this tool. You are able to address your body and read it almost like a book. It stores all the information from the past. It knows exactly where these unprocessed emotions are, and it will tell you. And you do have an ability to process that. If you have a body, physical body, and if you are able to feel any emotions, then you are able to heal. And I would love to show you how. So if you are a person, man, woman, maybe you are even thinking about your children right now, who is ready to address the real emotional root of the problem, illness, symptom, body sensations, coping mechanisms, limiting beliefs that you have in your life. You're ready to start acknowledging holistically your entire being and start forming congruence between your biology, your psychology, between your soul, who you actually are before all this pain happened, and between that and who you want to be in your life, your highest expression here. If you want to fully, congruently, in harmony, in a balanced way, start stepping forward and using the power of your own presence and loving that you do have, this is the time to do that. I am inviting you to send me a message so we can chat about this. My calendar for next week is open for all the people who want to chat about that, who are interested in this healing mentorship, who are interested in addressing their bodies in a loving way and starting forming the communication instead of constant rejection, control, struggle, restriction. How about expanding, opening up, and forming a loving relationship that you were always meant to experience? And my goal here is to teach you how to do that so you are not depending on me. This would not be healing if you had to constantly go to someone to address all the problems you have. You have this ability. I know you do. Because I in the past believed that I have nothing in my toolbox that I can actually use to heal on all levels. I always thought I have to go to doctors. And these are the kind of patients, clients that I have been working with in my medical career and here in my holistic approach. It's time to remember that you have that power. It's time to recall it, call your power back from each and every person that told you otherwise, and step fully into your own self-healing shoes. If you have questions, if you are interested, if you are curious, and send me a message and we'll schedule time to talk together about this. And if you are not the right fit, if this is not the right time for you in your life, I will give you the best tips and solutions that we can together come up with. And I also will give you a little bonus from my experience and from my own practice. So if you have any questions, if there is anything else I can answer, let me know either in the comments down below or contact me directly. Just send me a message and I will be chatting with you guys very soon. Next week's schedule in my business is open for you. So you can talk to me. I am all yours. I am all ears. And I cannot wait to hear from you, get to know you, and see you remember your own healing abilities. A short reminder and a description of what is it that I just described here in this video will be available under this video in the comments section, so you can constantly refer back to the pointers that I gave in this video. And thank you so much for paying attention and tuning in and being with me here this evening. Thank you so much. Enjoy your evening, and I will talk to you guys very, very soon. Bye-bye.